Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Coming Distractions brought to you by the Nerdpocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
All right, guys, we're back. We're here to review the brand new release of Black Panther in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starring Chadwick Boseman, Lupita Nyong'o, Andy Serkis, and every other black person in Hollywood.
Yeah, like literally every other black person.
They're all in there. Obviously, this is the hugely anticipated movie this year. Just to give a general premise for the movie, if you aren't aware, Chadwick Boseman plays T'Challa, aka the Black Panther, who was introduced in Captain America's Civil War. The events of the movie take place a couple months after Civil War, I guess, after his father's already been killed in that previous movie, and he's sort of coming back to his home country of Wakanda to be coronated as king. Things go left. So the movie also introduces Erik Stevens, who plays Killmonger, Erik Killmonger Stevens, played by Michael B. Jordan. Overall, Micah, what did you think of this movie?
I mean, I don't know what to say about this movie that hasn't been said by countless other people. It's a masterpiece, man. It's really, really good. It is the best movie that Marvel's done. And I feel like every time a new Marvel movie comes out,
yeah, I know, that's always the
it's what we say.
Right.
But it is legit fresh and different. Even if it follows the Marvel formula to a certain extent, but it is very different, and it is fresh, and it is what we need right now in big blockbuster filmmaking. Fresh voices, fresh young voices.
Right. By the way, this is directed by Ryan Coogler, who did Creed and Fruitvale Station.
I think we can go on and give him the Tarantino treatment when we can say now the third film from Ryan Coogler.
Right.
Look, everything about this movie is believe the hype. Like, the hype is real, and it is well deserved. The story, the pacing are all great, but what is more important about this movie is the conversation just below the surface. Like, you can enjoy this movie on a purely superficial level,
right?
But if you just stop and think about it, you think about the motivations of people, you think about how Wakanda is represented not only by people, but the ideas that Wakanda represents. If you get just below the surface and look at the subtext of what this movie does, you will see the genius that is this movie. Like, we won't get into that here right now anyway.
Right.
But yeah, this is a fun movie. It is part Lion King, part The Spook Who Sat by the Door, part James Bond, and all black. And it is, I cannot express to you how I'm not even you don't have to be like a Black Panther fan from the comics or whatever. You know what I mean?
And I would argue most people are not.
Right. Like, this is just a fun movie that is going to do gangbusters. God damn. 5 out of 5, man. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 5, man.
And Micah, you never get super, super excited about anything. You try to be like pretty even keeled.
I try to be even keeled. I am known to get into a little bit of hyperbole when I really like something. But
no, that's crazy.
But this is definitely worth your time, man. This is amazing.
Yeah, I would echo all of those sentiments. It is like, it's funny because you and I had a conversation after we got done with the movie that I thought it didn't feel like a Marvel movie as much as the other films did, right? It felt like it stood out a little bit more on its own. And you made a point that it follows like this general formula, and it does. The not general formula as in like you can see these things coming like beat by beat, not like that, but the general hero's journey, right? Like that is, I mean, that's been around before movies have been around, right? So that part is not crazy different, but what does make it interesting is that the movie, because of the people who are behind it, Ryan Coogler specifically, and I'm sorry, I forget the writer's name, Joe Robert Cole. Like, because those two guys have a certain experience in life, they bring that experience unapologetically to this character, into this movie, right?
And you can see it.
Yeah, you can absolutely see it. And that's not just, ironically, that's not just in the Wakanda scenes. Because the movie takes place 90% of the time in Wakanda, but there is a moment that takes place in Oakland, right? Like, and you know, if you don't know, Ryan Coogler is from there, right? So that kind of is an interesting thing, but it makes sense in that story. It does make sense. It's not like forced in or anything, but they bring this African American sensibility to this film while also being extremely deferential to African sensibilities when they're in Wakanda. Wakanda doesn't feel like Detroit, just like with, you know, high grass around. Like, it doesn't feel like that.
It doesn't feel like Atlanta with, you know, kente cloth.
Right. Like, that would be ridiculous. It feels like an African nation, just in the future, right? Yeah. The Afrofuturism in this movie, like the tech and stuff like that in this movie, is the best in the MCU. It just is. Yeah. Like, Iron Man set a bar that was like super cool with the suits and everything else and stuff that he can do. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, Iron Man plays around in like a near future sensibility.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like far and away. Like, this is some shit. This is some sci-fi shit.
Yeah. Like, there's a couple moments, and again, we're not going to spoil it. There are a couple moments you're just like, oh, they're just showing off.
Yeah.
Like, they're just showing off.
Yeah.
A couple of things that I thought were really important to bring up. As far as the acting is concerned, I thought Chadwick Boseman was better as Black Panther this time than even he was in Civil War.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I thought he was given more depth. He was given more to work with, obviously, right? He was just kind of a glorified cameo for the most part in Civil War. This time he was able to really kind of expand on that character and really like get into him, which I thought was good. Andy Serkis was great as like this, like he's good because he kind of plays his role a little comedic, which I dug, but also crazy dangerous.
Yeah.
Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia, the sort of former love interest of T'Challa's, and she's also like a spy for Wakanda. She was great. One of the big things about this movie is that none of the women are damsels in distress. None of them. Right. Zero, including her, who is the love interest. Which is really nice and refreshing to see. And we'll speak more about that in a minute. Then, what is the woman's name? Danai Gurira. And I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of her name. I apologize. But she plays sort of the head general of the Dora Milage. And she is such a great fucking character.
Yeah, she is.
Okoye. She is awesome. Like, in this movie, at least in my opinion, this movie does more to show women as equals as far as combat and agency and ability than Wonder Woman ever did.
Yeah.
Like, and look, I loved Wonder Woman. I thought it was great. But these women are fighting for the love of their country and for, like, their way of life. They're not fighting for a guy. They're not fighting, like, because, oh, my husband's, or my boyfriend's being attacked or, was killed. No, they're fighting for their own reasons, which I think really makes them stand out.
Right. They have a sense of duty and honor to what they believe in, and they choose to fight for it.
Yeah. Sans any guy's opinion.
Right.
Which I thought was clever and needed, right? And justified.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie is really great. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Letitia Wright, who plays Shuri, T'Challa's sister.
I mean, she stole the movie.
Yo, she stole
the movie.
Every scene she was in, she stole it. I don't know how young she is in real life, but she's supposed to only be 16, which is kind of funny. She seems to skew a little bit older than that, but I mean, they always say we look older, so whatever.
People at my job think I'm in my 20s. What?
Yeah, people think I'm way younger than them too, which is weird. I says maybe we're the exception to that rule. But Letitia Wright was really great. She's sort of the tech genius. She's the
Q to T'Challa's James Bond.
Right. She could stand toe to toe, if not higher, than Tony Stark when it comes to tech.
Oh, I think it's higher.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that she's creating is insane.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Right.
Right. But it's all her.
I need the two of them to be on screen.
Oh, yeah.
In Civil War.
I need her schooling him on tech.
Like, this is old tech. Like, what is this? And she also, because she's supposed to be 16, she brings this young, youthful edge to that character and to the story, right? Because everyone is an adult and the stakes are serious and, like, people are dying and things. Like, you know, shit is getting real. Yeah. But she kind of she's got these, like, she's where the comedy kind of comes in.
She's the fun of the movie.
Yeah, she really is.
She's the fun of the movie.
And then last, but certainly not least, is Michael B. Jordan as Erik Killmonger. This performance, they talked about, Michael B. Jordan's been studying Heath Ledger's Joker and, you know, can he break the curse of the Marvel villains? Yeah. Yeah, dude, he did. Yeah. Like, he's the best Marvel villain, period.
He is. And if you just... This goes back to what I was saying earlier. If you just look at him on the surface, it's the same Marvel type villain, right? It's the evil opposite. It's Iron Man fought Ironmonger, right? And
I mean, he literally is a monger.
Right. Like Captain America fought the Winter Soldier, right? A super soldier versus a super soldier. If you just look at this on the surface, you'll see a purple cat fighting a yellow cat. And there's so much more to it than that. Right. And it is something that I honestly never thought I would see in a mass, studio produced big budget film. Like the performance is, look, Terrence is in the background listening to us. Terrence, you are going to have a new favorite character in all of cinema. And it is it's wonderful, man.
It's really good. He's great. And his motivation is great. It makes sense. But because he's a villain, it's like, it's twisted a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, that's what really works. Look, man, the movie, you said it's a what? Would you say 7 out of 5, 7, 8, 9 out of 5?
Oh, yeah.
How high can you go, right? For me, it's the same. Like, it is Marvel's best film. Like, it really is. And that's not, and again, everyone says, Winter Soldier came out, it was the best film. And at the time it was. I mean, by the way. Civil War is the best film, stuff like that. No, this really is it, man.
This is my new favorite MCU film.
Yeah. No, I think it's their best.
It dethroned, for me, Winter Soldier.
Same.
Winter Soldier was my favorite. And now this one is my favorite.
Yeah. And look, it feels like its own story. It's got its own characters. It makes Wakanda a thing. It's not like, we're in Wakanda for 10 minutes, but then let's like go to the rest of the world and stuff like that. No, it's like they go outside of Wakanda a couple of times, but again, 90 to 95% of the movie takes place in Wakanda, showing the different tribes and their interactions and stuff like that. They deal with the history of Wakanda. Like, you want to know more about that world.
It feels like this can be its own franchise by itself. Like the world was built so well that I feel like this could sustain its own like cinematic universe or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and not to compare it to another sort of pop culture property, but it has a feeling of, if they wanted to do a Game of Thrones style show with this universe, you could, right? Because of the different tribes and how they interact and stuff like that. It is right for that. And that to me says a lot for them to do that in a movie that didn't feel overloaded.
Yeah.
So, do you have any criticisms about the movie?
Like I said, the only thing that I think people could criticize it on is, the story itself, right? Like the Marvel formula of it all. Yeah. Right. But, and again, if you just are looking at it, if you're not thinking about it, yeah, all right. It is a good guy versus his evil opposite. But whereas Ironmonger just wanted to kill Tony Stark, right, for no particular reason, right? Like this, Erik Killmonger has a reason that I mean,
It kind of makes sense.
it kind of makes sense, and it's a conversation that that should be had.
Yeah, I agree. Look, again, the movie is stellar. It really works. I look forward to seeing more Black Panther in the MCU. Obviously, he'll be in Infinity War. But more importantly, I really look forward to seeing what they do in a sequel.
Yeah.
Because, like, there are some really interesting stories that you could tell in that Black Panther, mini universe. Look, it's prime for it, man. It's prime for it. And look, and the one thing I'll say before we leave, I was not a huge fan of that new suit because I really liked the Civil War suit. I was like, yo, this is perfection. You can't change it. But of course, I got to change. You got to sell toys, right?
Right.
And I didn't like that you could see his eyes, but you can only see his eyes like when he basically wants you to. When he's in combat, they shield over and they're like gold or whatever. Dude, that shit looks so badass. It looks so good. I was like, you know what? The suit won me over. Like, it really did. And it's logical why it looks the way it does. Yeah. And they explain it, and it's very fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's a badass movie, man. Go see it. Look, if you're an MCU fan, you're going to love it. If you are a Marvel Comics fan, exclusively, you should go see it. If you are Black, you should absolutely see it because you are going to get a little extra. Like, there's a little bit extra there for you just because of your experience generally as a Black person in America. And you have to purposely not be paying attention not to get it.
Right.
And it's not, it doesn't slam you over the head, but it's well weaved into the story and it makes sense. And it's really good.
Yep.
This is the movie everybody anticipated and it delivered.
Yeah.
100%. All right, guys, that's it for us. Make sure if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, go out to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review on the Coming Distractions podcast feed. Also, make sure you check out the Nerdpocalypse podcast. That's our weekly show that we talk about movies, TV, comics, that sort of thing, and weird stories from around the internet. And we will see you guys next time.
See you.
Bye. You're watching the Nerdpocalypse YouTube channel. Make sure you click that button to subscribe and check out our weekly podcast where we talk about movie, TV, news, tech, and weird stories from around the internet.